Hello, this is Cecil Sunker from Hotkeyit.com, and I'm going to show you guys how to do a 3GateExpand for PvT. And yes, 3GateExpand for PvT is actually still used, especially lately as, for some odd reason, a lot of Terran players decide to skip their bunkers and don't know how to properly defend frontal pressure like a 3GateExpand. So it's a great beginner build, and it'll help you learn how to micro with your Zealot Stalker sentry composition very well, and it'll also help you to sort of multitask while you're doing that, constantly producing probes, macroing back at your base while you're over at the front of his base, and so on and so forth. So the build starts like every other Protoss build. You do your pylon, then your gateway, then your assimilator, then your pylon, then your cybernetics floor. And if you want the exact food counts, you can go ahead and look over the VOD, but I'm not going to go into detail about that. So you chrono boost on the Nexus twice, and the rest basically goes on cybernetics core. You order one Zealot before your Stalker, and the purpose of the Zealot, the purpose I get the Zealot for is to tank the initial damage when you're first pushing, and also to kill this SUV that's making the engineering bay. And I think it's right outside my vision, so I didn't see it till just now. But if he's making an engineering bay, go ahead and kill that as fast as you can with the Zealot. You want your second and third gateway to go down right as your warp gate research is about halfway finished. And then after you get your second and third gate, you can take your next gas, and you want 3 guys on your gas. And of course, you should leave a probe here for when you're going to put your Nexus down, so that way you can place it at any time. Make sure you have a proxy pylon while you're moving across the map or before you move across the map. You need the pylon to be very close, preferably without them knowing where it is, by the time your warp gate finishes. So here you can see the pressure. I'm going to get some marine kills, and all I lost so far was a Zealot. So I'll keep up the resources last tab. Now, the reason that this pressure can win you games is because if they only have a single bunker up at this point in the game, which they most likely will do, on most maps, they're going to want to get up more than one bunker. So this one does have a choke, but it's kind of large, so they're adding another bunker. But Stalkers have pretty big range, a range of 6, so you can pretty easily prevent more bunkers from going up, and that way they have to put bunkers back behind their original one. And the reason this is good for you is because it leaves this one very exposed, and you can pick it off whenever you need to, without much trouble. So back at home, I'm expanding behind this. I think I expanded around 7 minutes. There isn't an exact set time of when you need to expand, but make sure that it isn't late. I expanded when I got 400 minerals, and I didn't need to warp in any more units. And I can tell I don't need to warp in any more units right now because I'm not going to be able to bust a bunker and marines with all these SCVs here with this amount of units, or with one more warp in of units, unless I take really heavy damage, and then I'd be super all in because I wouldn't have this Nexus. And the point of the 3GateExpand isn't to go all in, it's to expand with heavy pressure. So that's why I'm opting to just sit out here, and by sitting out here it's forcing him to spend resources on a bunker. He might even pull SCVs, precautionary SCVs ready to repair, which will do even further damage by me just standing here. So do the expand part of the 3GateExpand. Also, be sure to get a robo after you put your Nexus down. You don't want to just 3GateExpand and never get a robo, because some players will, while they're making these bunkers and such, get a factory, and then right after the factory get a starport. And you don't want cloak banshees running around and ruining your day, all because you decided to skip your robo. So do get the robo. So now you can see all the bunkers that are being forced. And I could pretty easily pick this one off after I have a Zealot and a Guardian Shield ready. After I pick the front one off, I now have more space to move up with my Stalkers and deny further bunkers. And now he actually has to pull a ton of SCVs, just to make sure he doesn't die. Trying to desperately get the bunker up. And here I'm actually targeting down SCVs. I'm going to back up just a hair so you can see the Stalker micro. Don't lose any units. I'm keeping my units lost tab up so you can see that I'm making sure to conserve the army that I have. You don't want to be applying pressure and losing a bunch of stuff, because then it defeats the purpose of the pressure. You want your opponent to lose as much damage, or lose as much stuff as possible, while taking minimal damage. So here I'm microing back, well, I should have micro back that weak stalker. Microing back the weaker stalkers, pull back once most of my stalkers are low on HP and shields, keeping the resources lost discrepancy high. And eventually my army, if he keeps giving me free resources, will get so large that I can just swell in and overtake the natural. Now, if they decide to be, well, try to be tricky and put Marines up on top of the bunker, you could just say screw it and force field the ramp. And then there's not really anything they can do. All their Marines and stuff are trapped up the ramp. You can force the CC back into their base. Sometimes you can even kill the orbital command. But at this point, your pressure has reached its ultimate goal of taking the opponent's natural, and you don't need to go and kill him. What you should do is make sure to continually climb the tech tree. I'm going to get a robo support bay after this. Make sure you have nice full saturation on your natural, and then you'll get so far ahead from having 2 bases compared to your opponent's 1 base that you'll be able to very easily win without a risk. Whereas pushing up the ramp right now would be a huge risk, and I'd get slaughtered by these siege tanks that he's now making. Retakes his natural, but it's all too late. I have double the workers because my pressure was so successful. And now I'm climbing my check tree, place the support bay, getting Colossus. I have observers from that robo, so I know when his army moves out. And right when his army moved out, I actually had a warp prism full of zealots. And if you have a robo, you can do cool things like that. Utilizing observers to see where his army is. Using warp prism to land where his army is not. Just delay his push even more. I'm able to get up a third because of this maneuver. Warping so many zealots. Basically forces him to push up my ramp even though he might not want to quite yet. Because this is basically his only chance to kill me. If he waits any longer, my army will just get stronger and stronger and stronger while my zealots just did too much damage in his main where he can't keep up in production. Flanking tanks is always a very, very good idea. I didn't even realize I flanked the tanks, but flanking them with zealots will absolutely win you the game. Colossus have large range, which is why they're good against Marine tank, and they also slaughter Marines. And my money is super, super high. I'm kind of just relaxing because I know I'm going to win. And my one Immortal and Colossus kind of clean the rest up. And that's the end of that. So that covers the 3GateExpand. You can see I'm warping and more stuff. Icing on the cake. That covers 3GateExpand. The idea is, with 3GateExpand against Terran, is you only want to do it against the Terran that you think is fast expanding. I actually got a probe in the base earlier in the game and saw no gas. If you see no gas taken by the Terran, it's either one of 2 things. An all-in with Marines and bunkers, or a fast expand. And you should be able to know if it's an all-in pretty quickly, because he, for 1, will not have an orbital command down his ramp, and 2, will move out across the map. This guy actually built his orbital command on top of the ramp, which was a little bit odd, but nonetheless, I was able to know if he was moving out across the map or not. And if he is moving across the map to do a Marine bunker all-in, basically you just want to get as much stuff out of your 3 gates as you can, and 3GateExpand will put you in a really good place against that. If you can get your warp gate finished by the time his forces arrive across the map. But back to the original point, you mostly want to do a 3GateExpand against a fast expand. So either 1 gas can be pretty good because you can do a force field contain, but if it's a no gas expand, you can actually retake his natural if he skipped one of his bunkers. And that is that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the Hotkeyit forums, and I definitely hope you enjoyed the video.